Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Well, all across the nation, universities are fighting to become sanctuary campuses. Of course, this is part of the virtue signaling social justice warrior movement to try to impede anything Trump does, most of it based off fake news. One of those universities is Baylor University. I'm now joined by a student at Baylor University, Sam Walker, who's also part of the College Republicans at Baylor. Sam, thanks so much for joining us. Tell me, what has been the response through your perspective to the proposed petition to make Baylor a sanctuary campus?
Well, Owen, thanks for having me, number one. After the petition was started about 2 weeks ago, there's been numerous people that have just been signing it without even looking at it. They hear sanctuary campus and they're like, oh, that's great. We can help illegals and refugees and it'll be a good time. But they don't look at what's actually on it. When you actually read the petition, there are several things that are listed on there that are just illegal. It explicitly asks the campus to go against federal law and state law. And I think once people actually read it, they realize, hey, this is not what we want in our campus, and it's asinine, really.
Well, there's quite a lot of signatures on there, and you make a good point about people signing it before they read it. That's something we see almost in all walks of life now. And what you're talking about here is ignorance in the flesh. They're signing this petition. Who knows if they've even read it? That's something we're seeing in all walks of life, accepting terms and conditions before you even read them. But as you pointed out, they don't even realize that if this petition was to pass and you were to become Baylor to become a sanctuary campus, they're going to lose funding. They're going to break the law. Is anybody even bringing this awareness to the table for them?
That's what the college Republicans, the Young Conservatives for Texas, and the Young Americans for Liberty, we've all joined together. We're several conservative clubs on campus, and we're working together to distribute flyers and information and just get the word out that, like, hey, this isn't what Baylor needs right now. This isn't, it's illegal. So we're just doing what we can to get that information. Once people hear about it, they're much less receptive to the petition.
And just to be clear, what we're talking about here as far as the legal status is concerned, Greg Abbott is fighting sanctuary statuses. He's already doing it via the legal system with sanctuary cities, talking about cutting funds to sanctuary cities. But he has gone even farther to mention that any campus that wants to be called a sanctuary campus, he's going to defund. That's the Texas governor. And the bill is Senate Bill number 4 that talks about this. From your understanding, I know you've looked into this. You're trying to raise awareness of this. What are the parameters if you guys were to be considered a sanctuary campus? What is the immediate parameters that you're looking at legally?
Well, as far as losing funding, we received $1.14 billion in 2016 from endowments from the government. And so that's the first thing that would go, would be our funding, and that would make school much more expensive than it already is here. As far as the legal parameters, I've done research on it, but the funding is the main thing that we're worried about.
And of course, they cut that funding. Who knows, how that's going to impact the students, what kind of clubs are going to have to get shut down, professors maybe losing their jobs, or certain cuts that are going to have to go on with that. And of course, there's a side issue here as well. You guys are already dealing with some stuff. You guys are under investigation, under tight scrutiny because of what happened with the Baylor football program. Are the students aware that you already got that going on, you're already being watched, and now you're talking about maybe breaking the law, becoming a sanctuary campus? Is this something people are talking about?
Yes, that's another thing that we brought up on the flyers that me and Garrett Redfern put together, and we started distributing those. We're under warning from the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools. We're under warning to get our accreditation stripped from us because of that. And so we think, just adding on more stuff for them to look at for us that's not going to help at all.
Now, let's say that you're just walking around campus, you're going around, going to class or whatever. How many students would you say are even aware of this, aware of the petition, care at all? Is it a high number, low number? What are you seeing?
At first, we thought that it was just an insurmountable number of people that were in favor of this. When we looked at the petition, there's almost 2,000 signatures the last time I checked. But whenever I went out and actually started handing out flyers, people were asking, like, what is this? Like, I haven't even heard of this yet. But then on the other hand, there have been professors in different classes that are pushing for the petition to get signed. They're asking their students to sign it, which I don't have exact evidence of that, but it's against university policy here to push, petitions like this. But it's there's a good number of people. Like, we have 16,000 undergraduate students here, and 2,000 students have signed it. So it's growing in popularity, but I think our main thing here is getting the facts to the people that have already signed it and the ones that are thinking about signing it, so that they learn and understand what they're going to do.
Yes, and again, this was a petition that was started by the Postgraduate Religious Studies Department to make Baylor a sanctuary campus. Now, you just mentioned potentially professors trying to plug this in their class. Have you experienced that, or are you just hearing that that might be going on?
I have not experienced it. I've just heard other people talk about that going on.
Okay.
So we don't have any hard evidence of it, so we can't bring it toward the university. It's just rumors I've heard.
So you haven't seen any, the school actually pushing for this via professors or administration or anything like that. You're just seeing it with the students, and obviously started with the postgraduate religious department, but then it's worked its way down to the undergraduates, is what you're saying.
Yes. That's what it started. They signed the petition and created the petition, and then they were handing out flyers for undergraduate students to sign.
Okay, and I'm glad you mentioned that. So they're handing out flyers. What about protests? Has there been any protests on campus? Are people being vocal about this, or is it kind of just staying to the petition?
It's mostly just staying to the petition and flyers that have been handed out.
Now, is there any pushback coming from other than just the clubs? Are there just regular students who may not be involved with any clubs, may not be too interested in politics? Has there been any pushback at the student level that you've seen?
Whenever we were handing out the flyers, there were numerous students that after reading it were very angry. They didn't like what was happening, didn't like what was going on. And I feel like if we can organize these students in an effort, then we can really make some change in a positive way.
So we've covered the possibility of being defunded if you became a sanctuary campus. You're a student there. You're a freshman. Right. You've got 3 years ahead of you. You would hope at Baylor eventually to be a graduate. Maybe you go on further with Baylor. But as a student, I mean, are you worried? Is this something that actually is worrying you, that if they become a sanctuary campus, if they actually take this seriously and declare sanctuary status, are you worried about the future of your university?
I really am. It's already a different university from when my sister went here in 2007 when she graduated. Just from coming and visiting and hearing her talk about it, it's a drastically different university now. And I think that when we cut the funding from it, that's just going to damage us even further. We have problems with the accreditation, and losing the accreditation is going to, again, make. If we lost our accreditation, my degree would be worthless, and I'm spending all this money to come here, and just to have a degree from an unaccredited university would be terrible.
Wow, that's actually an amazing point that you bring up right there. A lot of people might hear you say, hey, look, they're going to defund us if we become a sanctuary campus, and they'll kind of just let that go. They won't really let that sink in. But if you talk about the accreditation, having a degree and then it not being worth anything, that might be something that hits home. Are you guys planning on trying to really promote this, really get that truth out there so that people can hear this and maybe some of the momentum behind this petition can stop? Is that your plan?
Yes, that's our plan. The three clubs that I mentioned earlier, we've organized together. The Young Conservatives of Texas is having a freedom of speech ball next week, and that's whenever we plan to make our first big push with getting the information out there, because we'd be right in the middle of campus, lots of traffic going through there, and there'd be lots of opportunities to give information like that out.
Well, I wish you guys the best. You should film some of that, and maybe we might be able to cover that a little more. But, you mentioned, somebody going there in 2007 saying how it's such a different campus now. I will just agree with you there. From my experience, the University of Missouri-Columbia is a former Big 12 school. I'm sure that you're aware of the Tigers of Mizzou. And they had a social justice warrior movement. They started doing protests. And if you look at everything that's happened at that campus, it kind of illustrates to me what the ignorant liberals are doing to universities right now. And I hope that doesn't happen to you. But are you seeing that, the liberalization of Baylor kind of coming full circle?
Yes, I am. Already last Last semester, we had a chapel speaker that was in support of Black Lives Matter, and her whole speech during chapel was about Black Lives Matter and equating them their movement to the Jews' exodus from Egypt. And it's just the liberalization as a whole, like between professors and everything. Like, we're a Baptist Christian university, and I feel like our values don't match that anymore in the time that I'm coming here.
Sam Walker, student at Baylor University, part of the College Republicans. Thanks so much for joining us, and good luck keeping that sanctuary status away from your school.
Thanks, Owen. Appreciate it.
In case you haven't heard, Infowars has become the most influential media outlet in America. We're making freedom go viral. And now we are proud to announce a new weapon in the epic battle against the globalists. Infowars Prime, where you can watch live high-definition feeds of The Alex Jones Show, plus exclusive insider videos from the Infowars crew and behind-the-scenes action. Go to Infowars.com/app and download today. Infowars Prime is available right now for your iPhone or Android. You will have access to exclusive videos that you can't see anywhere else. And that means live coverage of events and breaking news on location as it happens. You can also take advantage of amazing deals from the Infowars store that are only available for Infowars Prime subscribers. That's Infowars Prime at Infowars.com/app. And if you can hear my voice, you are the resistance.